If there's something strange in the news today, who you gonna call? Nine's Corner! Welcome everybody to Nine's Corner. I was feeling very much in the mood to doing a tarot card, as well as it is a 4-day weekend. I don't know what about you guys, like where you live or even in other provinces of Canada, but my son has so many days off. It seems like every week there's a holiday for something. It is like, it just floors me because when I was growing up, it seemed to me like we had to go to school every day and it didn't matter if there was a storm or a snowstorm or anything. I mean, you just went. And now it's like, ooh, anywho, there's so much action happening in the house that I decided to come out to my favorite place in the world, which is the garage. I'm not hiding here per se, but you know, but they do find me. That's the thing. They know where I've gone. So yeah, not very good hiding place. So anywho, I'm going to do readings on what you've asked about. So one thing I will say, I went for a walk today and I took you guys with me. So I decided to put it at the end of the video. So anybody who wants to see the changing of the season and the leaves have fallen, then there you go. And I also put in it okay, 2-3 times a week, I'll pull a tarot card, and that's my tarot card for the day. It's whatever I'm thinking about, feeling about, like, not to get too personal, but there's a situation that I've been feeling uncomfortable with. And I pulled a tarot card and it was the Temperance card. And it was like, oh my, like, once the whole day went on and I thought about the tarot card meaning, and that helps me keep up on all the meanings of the cards because, you know, there's the mundane and the esoterical, past, present, and future. I mean, we could go on and on. So it is a good way to learn tarot if that's something you're interested in. But for me, it's a way of, because tarot is so much aligned with our lives and it doesn't matter who you are, the tarot can speak to you. So for me, I was able to use it to deal with this uncomfortable situation. And so at the end of the video, when I show the fall, I kind of describe the card's meaning to me, how to incorporate it into your life. Maybe there's something that you've been thinking about. Maybe there's a situation, a person, place, thing, and you need a different way of thinking about it. I mean, it's so meaningful. Like I wish I could just make you feel how I feel about tarot so that you could understand it the way I understand it or the way I interpret it, because it's so much from the heart. It's so human to me, if that makes sense. So if you're interested, you can go to the end of the video and watch that. But please stay here and watch now and watch later, or don't watch later. I mean, it's up to you, whatever you want. So we are going to start with a couple of people asked about Anderson Cooper, because when my last video I did Don Lemon. So I thought we'll do Anderson Cooper, who was born June 3rd, 1967. He's 55 years old. He is the son of Gloria Vanderbilt, rest in peace. He, as he was growing up, I mean, he was obviously extremely rich and brought up in wealth, but he was a hard worker. He was a model at one time. His father passed away, and then 10 years later, his brother committed suicide. And this was a life-altering, changing experience for him. It really changed how he looked at his life. And I think more recently with his mother's passing, I'm sure, you know, again, he's having to revisit that. And he's even got a new podcast where he talks about loss and such. Now, I haven't checked out the podcast yet because let's face it, he started in like 2001 with CNN. And I don't know about you, but when CNN first started, I was glued to it. I had it on all the time because let's remember, we're dealing with 9/11. And I mean, you just had the news on 24/7, whether you were sleeping or awake or what have you. And Anderson Cooper was a huge part of that, a huge part of being out and showing us storms and showing us all this kind of stuff. Now, he became really humanized with his friendship with Kathy Griffin. Now, him and Kathy were like friendship goals around all the celebrity circles, because he was the straight man who, wanted to make sure that he was respectable. He had a respectable job. He was a journalist, and it was really important to him. And Kathy would just play with him, make him giggle, which I love when he giggles. And she would bring out the fun part of him. Unfortunately, when Kathy Griffin made a bad mistake to take pictures with a severed head that looked like Donald Trump and had some ketchup or something on it, and Anderson Cooper literally ghosted her. He did not speak to her. He put out a very heavily worded text against what she had done. And it wasn't until a long time after, until things started to settle. Now, appreciate in her life, she was now under federal investigation for crimes against Trump or against the president. She had a hell of a time, trying to fly outside of America, which is where she needed to go to be able to make her living. She couldn't get a job. All her friends left her. Her sister, who was dying of cancer, was getting death threats. And Kathy has had cancer. And I mean, it's just been a whirlwind event for her. So I get it. I'm very much somebody who tries to see all sides of something. So even if I don't agree with you, I try to understand where you're coming from, which gets me in trouble all the time here, but that's who I am. That's the way I work. So I kind of looked at it and I said, okay, I could appreciate as Anderson Cooper going, look, I'm a journalist. This is my life, my livelihood, but it's not even that. It's who I am. It's what I coat myself in, because he literally cloaks himself in it. But I would never, for the life of me, ever disappoint or let down a friend of mine, especially a best friend, and ghost them. And he could have at least said, look, what you did was horrific. I can't be on board. I can't be seen as being on board. I'm really sorry. Or something, but like to just totally ignore her at the most worst time of her life. And then on top of it, I think at some point he did try to text her and she was like, no, I'm sorry, it's too late. So that kind of put a bad taste in my mouth, even though I could understand it to an extent. But if my best friend did whatever, even because she is my best friend, I would look, oh my God, girlfriend, that was so fudged up. And then I would say, look, I totally disagree with you, but one event does not take away everything from who a person is. You can't be judged. If we were all judged by our worst day, oh my God, we would all just be, in the corner in the fetal position, just waiting for life to end. I mean, there has to be that balance. And even if he had to say, listen, I can't be thought to be part of this. I can't be seen to be part of this. But hey, behind the scenes, I'm supporting you. I love you. And his mother, Gloria Vanderbilt, right up to her death, Kathy was friends with her because she became really good friends once she got to know Anderson Cooper. And okay, this is just me, so don't kill me, because maybe there's some huge Andy Cohen fans out there. I get a bad vibe from Andy Cohen. There's something with him. So the fact that him and Nina, get it out of you. I need a sip of coffee. Should I leave this in or take it out? I think because he spends so much time with Andy Cohen, and I'm not a fan of Andy Cohen, that kind of, ruffles my feathers. But I still love Anderson Cooper. I can't help it. I think it's funny when he gets that little giggle going. And he's a good journalist. I mean, he's good at bringing the news and stuff. So to be honest with you, I haven't watched CNN or really any newscast in years. there's a lot of news places that I go to, but I watch all the little snippets so I can get a multitude of angles. And then I read a lot so that I can kind of come up with more of my own opinion rather than, depending on all the news, because there's so many falsehoods out there. So you got to be really careful where you're looking and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, Anderson Cooper, where was I going with that? So currently, Anderson Cooper still works at CNN. He has Anderson 360. Like I said, he does a podcast. I'm going to have to look it up because it actually sounded really interesting to me. So I'm going to check in on that. And in his personal life, his mother has passed away, which is sad. Rest in peace to Gloria Vanderbilt. But at the same time, he has now 2 beautiful little boys. He has them he's co-parenting with his ex-partner, but they're best friends, and they have decided to be a unit and a family together, even though they're no longer together. So I don't know, I know a year or so ago that they were still living in the same house. I don't know if that's still true to this day, but so I thought, let's have a look at Anderson Cooper. Let's see, will he stay at CNN? Will he stay at CNN? Because there's been so many changes. I mean, everything's moving and shaking and changing at CNN, and we don't really know where it's all going to end. So let's wait and see what's going to happen. What's going to happen with Anderson Cooper? We have the 4 of Cups. Four of Cups. I think with the 4 of Cups, you're seeing that CNN is offering him things that maybe he's not wanting to do, maybe having to go outside of the country, or, you know what I mean, that kind of a thing. I think I had a very strong feeling when I flipped this card that there was a feeling from Anderson Cooper that he's actually looking at his mortality. He's kind of questioning his life and what he's doing. This could be not CNN, but actually him looking at changing jobs or changing the way he does things, because I think having a family has made him think about how much time does he have left, what does he need to do, what does he want to prove. Possibly this new podcast could be him putting his toe into the water to see how it will be received. You know what I mean? So in the past, we have the Queen of Wands. This is not surprising. This is him wanting to create his family. This is his 2 beautiful children coming into his life. And believe me, these children were destined to be with him. The universe definitely played a part, but his want for it really was strong. His want was undeniable. That's sweet. Underneath it all, the 7 of Swords, which is really interesting because if you see, there's 2 swords right here standing. I think this is his 2 children. And I think the swords he's carrying is the work that he does with CNN, and that maybe he's thinking about he's looking back at the children thinking, I'm losing out on precious time. Maybe he is thinking about slowing down, changing his work up. So maybe this podcast could be what he's looking for. If I was doing a reading for Anderson Cooper, I'd be kind of like, I think there may be somebody that you might be interested in or flirting with, or you're starting to want to have the full family experience, which means wanting to have a partner, which must be very confusing because you have a parenting partner who may or may not live with you, but it's your best friend. I don't know. That's confusing because I don't know if it was me, I'd be like, you guys you seem awful close, and I don't want to be that person who's the in between until you realize you love each other, that kind of a thing. But he's definitely wanting that in his life. Maybe he has it. It could be something that he's dealing with now, but I think this has to do more with work. So on top of this, oh, interesting. We have judgment. So there's a want to bury the past, which I think is very interesting because with the podcast, he's talking about loss. And I think that's part of burying his past, is getting over the losses. But this is also wanting to make room for newness. So I'm wondering if, along with wanting to spend more time with children, either he's secretly wanting to spend more time in a official relationship way with his co-parent, or he really really wants to have a fresh start with somebody who can accept his life the way it is, because he's really wanting for love. The Four of Cups at the center tells you that there's a wanting for something more. Interesting. In the future. Ooh. We got the Devil. Start of a negative cycle for him. Things may not be going the way that he wanted them. Let's just pull another card and see what specifically is the negative cycle having to deal with. Is this the podcast not doing as well as what he wanted, or... Okay. Oops. We got the Chariot. Should I stay or should I go? I think he is really feeling the pull between career, CNN, wanting to be successful, and then the other side of wanting to be part of the family. Maybe the negative cycle could be that possibly his podcast might not do as well as what he's hoping, so that he could actually change his life to go more towards that. Let's just pull a card. Oh, hold on now. Hold on, she said. Hold on, she said. What's happening here? My cards got mixed up. Should I keep that in or take it out? I'm just going to mess up my cards so we can ask. Will Anderson Cooper's podcast do well? Or well enough to, you know, get traction to the point where he would consider leaving CNN for it? Because he's confused. He's confused. He's thinking, should I stay or should I go? Podcast, how you gonna do? Podcast, how you gonna do? Podcast, how you gonna do? Three of Wands, waiting for your ships to come in. With the Three of Wands, it could be the universe giving you situations that test you, that make you think about your situation. I really get a feeling, an overall feeling here in his reading, that he's really, you know, at that point in his life where he's questioning, what have I done? Where am I going? What's the best plan? And feeling very caught between everything. But he'll be successful at the end. He'll be waiting for his ships to come in. I don't feel like the podcast is going to be his vehicle for something, you know, really huge happening. I think, you know, unfortunately, he's still going to have to take time to figure it out. And until he makes a decision, because we've got the Chariot here and all that kind of stuff, he's not going to be able to move forward. So it really comes down to him making a decision, and he's just not in a decision-making space here. But if he's depending on the podcast, I'd be saying sorry right now. So that's our reading. I thought that was interesting. What did you think? What did you think, girls and guys? And next, we're going to look at Herschel Walker. Let's get some information about him out. Hold on. Oh, here we go. I don't know why. I've never done a reading on him, and for whatever reason, it's like I would have it suggested. I would see him on the news, and his vibe is so off to me. And so I just avoided it. And now I'm going to do a reading. So I did some looking into the situation. So in Georgia, he's going for U.S. Senate. It has come out that he has paid one of the mother of his children, allegedly, to get an abortion, which is something that he is against on his platform, his political platform. And it seems like there might be multiple mothers that have come out. And this is, a football hero that went from hero to zero. And if you watched his last media conversation, it was a dance. Like, he was just dancing around. I said that was a lie, but, not about that, but about this. And yeah, I said it was a lie, but not about that, but it's fine. It's like, what? Oh my God. Like, it was almost as good as, when Bill Clinton said, define it for me. It was that kind of like, what's happening here? So, I thought, let's see. Oh, and that's the other thing I was going to mention. On Twitter, his son, Christian Walker, called out his father for lying. He said, "You're not a family man. We had to run from your violence." So they didn't want him to run. They begged him not to. That they said he didn't ask for him to leave us to go bang a bunch of women, threaten to kill us, and move 6 times in 6 months running away from your violence. First, let's have a look at the race between Herschel and Warnock and see who's going to win the race. See who's going to win the race. Herschel or Warnock. Okay. So for Herschel, we've got the Fool, new beginnings. For Warnock, we have the Ace of Cups, which is a heartfelt desired, which is fulfilled. I think right now, between Herschel and Warnock, we're looking at Warnock actually getting it because he wants it, and it's a heartfelt desire being rewarded. Herschel, you're the Fool. I mean, there's some... See, I don't even like saying that because there's something amiss here. There's something... I almost feel bad for him in some way. I don't know why. I don't know why. All right, let's put those cards back in and let's have a reading on... Let's have a reading on Herschel Walker himself. What's happening in his life? Because there's something just not right here with him. There's something amiss. Let's look at what's going on with Herschel Walker in his life right now. Seven of Cups. So he is feeling completely powerless, but he's just going to keep moving on. He's hoping that some idea will come to him that he'll be able to continue, but it's getting more and more fractured. And I think this is really showing a fracture within the family. Underneath it, wow, we have the 10 of Cups. Here's the family. Exactly what he's getting himself in trouble for with his strong beliefs or political beliefs, and then behind closed doors going the opposite of it. In the past, We have the moon here. Psychological issues. He was a football player, and there has been a lot of research and stories that have come out that shown that athletes who get hit in the head a lot, like you've seen a lot of stories, or I've seen a lot of stories on WWE wrestlers who, killed their wives or did things so out of character, but it wasn't because of them, it was because of the changes within their mind because of all the hits and stuff. So I'm truly wondering if there's not a medical reason that causes him. I'm not making an excuse for him, so please don't get mad at me, but I'm just saying that I think behind all of this, there is some psychological damage that has been done to him in the past, and they're not aware of it. Nobody's aware of it. They haven't, it's not medically shown there, but I truly believe that if he had medical help, you might find out there's some brain issue there, brain damage issue there. On top of it, we have the World. He is preoccupied with the past, and moreover, the people around him are preoccupied with his past. So there's more to come out. There's going to be more stories, more gossip, and more division caused because it's going to be the opposite of what his political platform touts. In the future, Eight of Cups, walking away, going into a new direction. I think that this this time that he spends going for the Senate is going to be a time of confusion and breakdown and even more hurt and heartache for his family. I think the confusion is because of a medical issue from the past, and I think that he is not going to win. I think Warnock is going to win. He's got the Ace of Cups going for him. I just want to check. After this, he's not going to know. Okay. I feel really bad for him. I know, anyway. After this, once he leaves and goes into a new direction, maybe even getting out of politics completely is a possibility. It is the Chariot. Which way should I go? He's unsure, but then we got the Strength card. And I can't help but get this feeling like he'll get some, it'll either be sincerely, he'll get some actual real medical doctor help and he'll be able to change over his life and start anew. But I could also see this in a negative way of him using the power that he has built, the people that will follow him, and trying to almost like become a preacher or something. Like that's the feeling I get around that. Like he's so almost narcissistic in his own mind that he would want to have his own following of some sort, even if he got out of politics. But his poor mind, I really feel like there's some kind of medical issue, brain issue happening with him. So I'm glad you're not going to win, but I'm sorry for your situation. I think we'll leave it at that. It's a good. So for our final reading, I thought, let's look at Marjorie Taylor Greene. What you doing, girl? What's happening? Divorce is happening. That's what's happening. Her husband, hold on now, I have something written down about it, so I want to look up my notes and say what she said. Let's look at Marjorie Taylor Greene. Her husband, Perry Greene, has filed for divorce, stating that his marriage is irrecoverably broken. They were married in 1995. Division of assets and debts have been sealed by the court. She has been Trump's faithful. She's yelled at Parkland students and now wants privacy concerning her upcoming divorce. So I thought, let's have a look and see what happened. What caused the divorce after all these years? I mean, you hear about lots of people who've been married for, 40 or 50 years, and once their children are raised, all of a sudden there's divorce. But let's see what was the base, the focus of the reason for why they broke up. What is the focus for the reason why? Ooh, did you just see that card? Okay, come on. You saw that card fly out of my deck. Heartbreak, and this is cheating. Affairs, heartbreak, devastation. Her husband's devastated. She did not have just one affair. There's at least 3 affairs that she's had. Going across it is her want to work, career, and just between you and I, because you're not going to tell anybody. The Ace of Wands can be a very phallic symbol. So I think what caused the heartache is very, very strongly suggested here by Tarot, that affair of the heart. This was something very personal. Underneath it all, ooh, we got the Sun. So the husband found out about the affair. The husband found out about the affair. The husband might have walked in on the affair or came across papers, documents, pictures, something of that. In the past, 8 of Swords, she felt very stuck in this relationship. She was done. This was over at least 8 months prior to this actually happening. So on top of it, the Queen of Cups, she's going to try to hold her emotions, thoughts close to her chest. To be honest, this is showing me a woman that's lacking emotion. This is somebody who has the ability to be secretive and to have the affair. Wow. In her near future, we have the Emperor. Very interesting. Because the Emperor is all about stability. And if your foundation is strong, it will hold. If your foundation is not strong, it will fall apart. So I got a feeling that her husband coming out and being her best friend may not last. I feel like the stability is there right now, but it's all based on the husband, Perry, and him wanting to maintain a friendship, or the illusion, or the giving off the idea that they're friends. But her stability is based on him, so he knows secrets. Interesting. But going forward, it'll be a kind of stable ride. I think between the two of them, they know what they want to do, how they want to proceed with this divorce. Knight of Cups, she's already involved with somebody. Yeah. 3 of Pentacles. The people outside really are looking at her and thinking, okay, you need to change up, you need to revamp, you need to secure your image. So I think behind the scenes, people are trying to cover up her affairs. She is so going forward in her career. She's very hopeful. She has this shtick, and she thinks it works for her. So she's very hopeful. Like, she's hopeful that her husband's going to stay on her side and be her best friend. She's hopeful that this is all just going to be like pushed away. Like, she's a little bit like, woohoo out there, isn't she? Knight of Swords. She's going to be rushing into some kind of relationship before she's ready. Oh, I'm sorry, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Your whole life is going to blow up. Everything that you wanted, whether it be your relationship, your work, it's all going to, you're rushing into all of this change far too fast and furious. It's not good look. The end result being that Marjorie Taylor Greene has rushed in to, divorce, and it's not going to go well. It's almost like it's the first step of her total destruction that's coming. So guys, that's the end of our video. For some, this is goodbye, and for others, this is remain, so you can walk and talk about the Temperance card with me through the fall trees. So, as always, I have our unity candle lit for each and every one of us. And until the next time we chat, cheerio and take care.
Subscribe!
When I pull the Temperance card for the day, I know that I'm being tested. That's something that I thought I had dealt with, be it a project I thought I had completed, or I had settled something between myself and a friend, or I had made a decision about money, and all of a sudden it comes back up and it's a problem and you've got to relook at it. And it's like the universe is testing you. This is when you look to the universe to help guide you. You want the universe to help you produce a solution for something that you can't control. You'll end up making the right decisions with the guidance of the universe. But I think the important takeaway is that sometimes you are faced with a person, a place, a thing, an action, a reaction that's going to cause you to be tested in your life. And it could be a wake-up call to see, are you continuing your negative patterns, or have you learned? Because oftentimes the tests that we have, there's similar tests to what we've had before, because the universe is looking to see, have you grown? And if you haven't grown, the universe will keep putting things out and in your way and testing you for you to learn this lesson. So Temperance is all about learning to balance out life, realizing that the old and the new can both exist at the same time. It's about how you interpret it, how you set the boundaries and speak up for yourself, at the same time realizing that you can't do it alone. You do need the help of the universe, because some things you can't change your outer world, but you can change your inner world. And this could be a time for you to focus on yourself as well.